You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, a car crash takes the life of 2 people in Allen County early Monday morning.
Flags at half-staff across the 4 states with the funerals of our Joplin police officers on the way. Should not have any weather concerns during the funeral procession with the latest from the Skywatch website.
Also, when Officer Rick Hershey was injured in the shooting that took the life of 2 other Joplin police officers, his absence was felt in the community, maybe nowhere more so than at Eastmoreland Elementary. We'll take you there. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Last week's shooting that left 2 Joplin officers dead and 1 seriously injured has hit close to home for the staff of Eastmoreland Elementary. The shooting at 9th and Connecticut was in Eastmoreland's attendance boundaries, which meant the school had to come up with alternative plans to getting kids in that area home that day. But it had another impact. Officer Rick Hershey, who was seriously injured, had served as Eastmoreland School Resource Officer for 15 years, having left that position at the end of last school year. We spoke with the staff at the school yesterday who say Officer Hershey had a profound impact on not only them, but the students he served.
Yeah, Officer Hershey was just one of the most dedicated individuals I've worked with over the years. He built a relationship with everyone that he came in contact with, and he has such a huge love just for people in general, not just our students, but our staff and everyone in the community. There wasn't a time when I wouldn't be out in the community and see him and he wouldn't be interacting with someone.
Surbrook says Eastmoreland is collecting coins for cops, a fundraiser to provide a meal to the Joplin Police Department. She adds any money left over will be donated to the officers' families and to the Joplin Police Department. Mourners are paying their respects to Corporal Ben Cooper, who was killed in last Tuesday's shooting. The public was permitted to attend a visitation that ended at the Leggett and Platt Athletic Center at MSSU at 8 last night. His funeral, which will be at 1 today at the same location. Corporal Cooper was 46. Missouri's Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe ordered all U.S. and Missouri flags be flown at half-staff at all government buildings in both Jasper and Newton counties in honor of Corporal Cooper. Funeral services will also take place this week for Officer Jake Reed, killed in the same encounter. These services will also be at the Leggett and Platt Center. Visitation will be on Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. The funeral will be on Friday at 1. Officer Reed was 27. 2 people are dead after a crash early yesterday in southeast Kansas. It happened around 6:30 in the morning on 169 about a mile east of Humboldt. The Highway Patrol says 2 pickup trucks hit head-on. Both drivers died at the scene. They were 62-year-old Gordon Lane of Ottawa, Kansas, and 45-year-old Jamie Lynn Ellis of Iola, Kansas. 2 occupants of the Ellis vehicle, an adult and a 6-year-old child, were taken to the hospital for suspected serious injuries. A Lawrence County, Missouri judge sentences 2 more suspects in a kidnapping and murder case. Authorities say Andrew Cypret of Billings and Lyle DeLong of Stott City were 2 of 9 suspects involved in the kidnapping of 2 women and the murder of 1, Sarah Pascoe, in August of 2020. Cypret and DeLong both pled guilty to charges of second-degree murder and kidnapping. The judge sentenced them both to 32 years in prison. 4 other suspects in this case have already been sentenced. You can hear more about those sentences and the case on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Missourians are encouraged to save their gas receipts so they can apply for a refund on the state's fuel tax later this year. Last October, the state increased its fuel tax from 17 cents per gallon to 19.5 cents per gallon. The Department of Revenue says residents can submit a claim for a refund on that additional 2.5 cents per gallon. The refund covers purchases made after October 1st of last year. You can apply from July 1st through September 30th.
The receipt will have most of the information on it, but not all. You need to have the VIN number for the vehicle that it went into. You need the date purchased and the seller of the gasoline, the number of gallons that the tax was collected on.
The Department of Revenue is working to create an online system for residents to file their refund claims. A major milestone for a World War II veteran, Deacon Luke Bullock rang in his 100th birthday on Sunday in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. He was surrounded by family for the celebration. Bullock served in the Navy. Bullock is a father of 2 and is a part of a 5-generation family with 76 grandchildren and 4 more babies on the way. So,
76 grandchildren. My goodness.
I can't imagine trying to keep them all straight. I mean, imagine.
I don't think
How do you remember that many names?
you make them wear name tags.
Yeah.
And then you're grandpa to everybody, so it's fine. And according to that birthday cake, he became a deacon later in life. How neat. Well, congratulations to him, and what a family get together. Can you look? I can't fathom having 76 people at a party. Period. Never mind 76 grandchildren on top of the other relatives
Exactly.
and friends and family.
Yeah,
that
I'm
would
trying
be
to
there.
think of how big this party was. I mean, I feel like for your 100th though, you gotta do it in style at that point.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, that is the birthday.
Can you imagine the amount of pictures that they had to go back and
My gosh.
tell stories about that? Well, congratulations to the good deacon right there. All right, Bronte, over 7th and Rangeline right now. We sit at 43 degrees. We've actually dropped about 3 to 4 degrees over Joplin. Busy intersection, too. I've been noticing the traffic really picking up here on Tuesday. It's been a while since we saw it backed up at this time in the morning. Humidity sitting at 93%, an indicator of that Gulf moisture that moved in. But this system coming off of the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line, progressing up to the northeast right there. It does have a little counterclockwise spin to it. And so it's trying to throw just some real light rain our way to the far south. But for the most part, we are done, and really accumulation numbers were nil overnight. May see some raindrops on a windshield. Notice a wet intersection. That's about the extent of it. I don't even think we're going to get into Benton County right there. Probably skirt on the other side of it. Now, beginning to see that cloud cover move off, and that's going to bring us some sunshine here. Begin that out to the west and eventually make it to the central and eastern parts of the 4 states. We had some 50s up on the board earlier. Now we're just kind of hanging out. We have Jay and Bella Vista there at 50, a whole bunch of 46s to 49s. Neodesha and Yates Center look like our cooler spots right now at 41. Let's roll 45 in Lamar and 46 in Pittsburgh. But eventually our day planner with these parting skies and some sunshine going to lift us up into the 60s. And the nice thing is we're not going to have to fight that strong south wind that we did yesterday. Almost exact opposite of the afternoon hour, and we'll get legitimate sunshine and not be blown over as well. Just come in from the northeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's future track. As that motion I was talking about, it kind of turns back on itself. I don't even think an umbrella is going to be worth it today. And then as it dissipates down to the southeast, we get ready for nice stable temperatures overnight. It's at about 45 degrees for the most part. And then as we work into Wednesday, it's going to be delightful all the way up into the 70s. Be able to roll 70s for both Wednesday and Thursday. And then got some rain activity. Nice system moves in from the west and northwest. Brings us a little thunder and lightning. Cools us off a little bit for Friday, but still looking like a nice weekend back into the 60s.
Definitely cannot complain about those temperatures.
No, especially Wednesday and Thursday right there, cruising into the 70s.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, up next, Missouri is one of the worst states in the nation when it comes to maternal mortality rates. We'll take a look at the efforts to keep mothers and babies safe. And later, the new movie Master debuts this week, and it's bringing chills and social issues to the big screen. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Hi. A number of pregnancies in Missouri are ending in tragedy. Missouri comes in near the worst in maternal mortality rates, ranked 42nd. Reporter Alexis Zotto has more on efforts to keep mothers and babies safe.
Inside Jama Birth Center in Ferguson, they are working to improve the maternal mortality rate in Missouri.
A lot of it has to do with access to care. But also when you think about the racial disparities, a lot of times Black and Indigenous people, they aren't getting the proper education and information about what's happening with their bodies. And so they may go home, they don't have support, and they don't understand the changes that their bodies are going through, and they have a newborn baby.
According to the latest statistics from the state, there are 39 deaths for every 100,000 births.
82% of those deaths were preventable.
Bianca Salas with March of Dimes will drive to Jefferson City to ask lawmakers to pass legislation that could make a difference. This includes Senate Bill 698, which calls to expand Medicaid from 60 days to a full year after a woman gives birth.
13 years ago, I was pregnant with her and I was on Medicaid. My eligibility ended at exactly 60 days and I barely was able to see my provider one time.
Salas suffered from postpartum depression, which began a few months after her daughter was born. But the bill, which has bipartisan support, might now be in limbo after a lawmaker tacked on a new amendment.
My Senate amendment, which is the Defund Planned Parenthood amendment, is pending right now.
St. Charles County Senator Bob Onder says the amendment calls for no taxpayer money going toward abortion facilities. Onder calls this a procedural tactic.
The great majority of policy gets passed not as a standalone bill, but as an amendment to other bills.
But those working to keep mothers safe say politics could cost lives.
We are literally killing mothers by saying we're cutting you off at 60 days, and these are people who are low income and at the highest risk.
Again, that was Alexis Soto reporting. New York's Metropolitan Opera held a special concert on Monday evening to show solidarity with Ukraine. All ticket sales went to support Ukrainian relief efforts. The 70-minute performance was broadcast on radio stations around the world. It opened with the rendition of Ukraine's national anthem and featured a performance of the Prayer for Ukraine. VIP attendees included Ukraine's permanent representative to the United States.
Very nicely done. 70 minutes too. That's no small concert.
No, and I mean just great that show that they're showing support, even just from all the way over here.
Latest news coming out just broke across CNN was the protester who turned up on television at the television station. Her lawyers just come out and says we don't know where she is.
Oh my gosh.
So any other developments we get on that, we'll make sure that we pass along. Live look outside of Television City where, of course, flags across the 4 states being flown at half staff as Corporal Cooper will be laid to rest today. And we prepare ourselves for Corporal Cooper's funeral and Officer Reed's funeral, lost in the line of duty there with the Joplin Police Department. So a solemn Tuesday, to say the least. We will have some gradually clearing skies and sunshine later on. Daily almanac will lift us just above our average high for this time of year, which should be about 60 degrees. All the rain staying down to the south-southeast right now. This gives you an idea. Let's talk about that counterclockwise movement. You can tell how it's almost wrapping itself, and well, it's going to take off to the southeast right here. Whenever you get one of those, whenever you get that circular motion right there, sometimes it'll try to kick some out to the north, but we really haven't seen anything that it's been worthy of dropping anything that's accumulation-wise. Oh, I tell you what, Tim, I see you. I see what you did there. Let's run back down here. This is this Benton where we were yesterday, Tim? No. Where is it? This is where, Ron? Little Rock. This is Little Rock. Okay, thank you very much. This is a live shot from the Arkansas Department of Transportation right here. And so, yeah, let's be fortunate that system is staying down to the southeast right there. That is a commuting mess with the way that's coming down that hard. My goodness, they're easily going to pick up an inch or two. They do have flooding concerns throughout eastern Arkansas as that system progresses as well. We're actually getting our skies to clear off a little bit, and we didn't even pick up 1/10 of an inch overnight into this morning. 43 degrees is where we stand in Joplin. Start to get a little bit of a bump up here. We've been holding on to 49s and 50s every now and then. Haven't really slipped below the 40-degree mark, hanging on to 41 in Yates Center and the Neodesha. Monette at 46, Lamar at 45. So all things considered, it's comfortable, and we don't have to worry about the elevated fire risk, certainly now that we were able to pick up that Gulf moisture and our humidity numbers 40% higher, really, than what we were experiencing at this point in time yesterday. Dividing line with the cooler temperatures up to the northwest, and of course, there's all that rain that we were looking at from our Department of Transportation cam. Get through this afternoon, little northeast breeze, highs around 63 degrees. Wednesday and Thursday, all the way up into the 70s. More additional rainfall coming, but that's not until Thursday night into Friday morning. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. New drama debuts this week using the framework of a horror movie to delve into social issues. David Daniel takes a look at Master.
It's amazing, Gil. First Black Master.
Very exciting.
It is.
Regina Hall stars in Master, as in master of a residence hall at an elite, overwhelmingly white university.
Last name, first name? Lauren. Jasmine. Guys, she got the room.
Zoe Renee plays a new student who's optimistic about her future until she and the master begin seeing a sinister side to the school.
The subtlety also made it resonate a little deeper than any kind of, message or harshness. And so I think that really was compelling to me.
Is the evil supernatural or societal?
This school is unwilling to see itself for what it truly is.
Writer-director Mariama Diallo drew from her own observations and feelings from college.
I didn't want to engage with it gratuitously. I really felt like the best way that I could, sort of leverage film was to take a lived experience and then render it even more true.
It's such a complex range of feelings. When I read it, I was heartbroken. I was terrified, but I also felt seen.
I can't get away from it, Jasmine. It'll follow you. It's everywhere.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Master debuts Friday, March 18th, not only in theaters, but also on Amazon Prime. We'll be right back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Lance Corporal William Sanders in the U.S. Marines. The Parsons, Kansas native joined the Tank Division unit of the Corps. He earned a Marksman Medal and the Good Conduct Medal. To Lance Corporal William Sanders, we thank you, our four-state hero. 2 officers killed in the line of duty. 1 seriously injured. A community left in mourning. Last week's tragic events hit the Joplin community hard. It's also hit close to home for the staff and students at Eastmoreland Elementary. KOAM's Chris Warner has the story.
The events of last week have had a deep impact on Eastmoreland Elementary in Joplin. The scene of the second shooting at 9th and Connecticut was in Eastmoreland's attendance area. The school had to develop alternative plans to get students home safely that afternoon. But it's hit closer to home with the school. Officer Rick Hershey, who was seriously injured, spent the last 15 years as Eastmoreland's school resource officer.
It's been hard to take this information, but we know that he will recover, and he is a strong man.
Officer Hershey stepped down from the SRO position at the end of the last school year. Principal Heather Serbrug says his impact on the school was significant.
Just working with the students was definitely his sweet spot. He has such a huge heart for kids of all ages, and he wants them to be successful and wonderful citizens, and he strove so hard to make sure that happened, and his connections and relationships with our students was just fantastic.
Because he was the SRO up until last year, many current students are aware of what's happened to their beloved friend, and Serbrug says that's been one of the tougher parts of pushing through the past several days.
Honestly, we've just tried to take a positive spin that he was serving, and that is what they're called to do, and just that we're maintaining our thoughts with him and his precious family and the entire JPD.
The news of what happened to Officer Hershey has taken a toll on staff as well.
It just absolutely made me sick to my stomach with concern and wanted I don't know, we just wanted to take his pain away.
Officer Hershey was instrumental in getting the Rise Above program started at Eastmoreland. Fifth grade teacher Kyle Graves worked closely with Officer Hershey in that program, which was aimed at teaching students how to avoid dangerous situations like drugs and alcohol. Graves says it was Hershey's connection to the students that made the biggest difference.
I've never seen anything like it. Officer Hershey could enter a room, kids start smiling, and they're up out of their seat before I can even give them a chance to, tell everybody, let's continue to have a seat. They were super excited to see him.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Surbrugg says Eastmoreland is collecting coins for cops, a fundraiser to provide a meal to the Joplin Police Department. She adds any money left over will be donated to the officers' families and to the department. Another half hour of news and weather just ahead, coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll show you how technology is giving a voice to the voiceless. And is that Rod Stewart fixing a pothole? Only Gene Moose knows for sure. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. The mass exodus of refugees escaping Russian forces invading Ukraine is causing serious concern for humanitarian organizations, warning that human traffickers could take advantage of the millions of women and children seeking shelter abroad, offering them free food, clothes, and shelter, only to kidnap them. Jackie Ibanez reports.
They trek through snow, dirt, and mud. Others march along highways or try cramming into crowded buses and trains. Some don't know where they are heading, they just know they need to get out. It's all the result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which the United Nations says has already caused more than 2.8 million Ukrainian refugees to leave their homeland.
The risks for other people that can capitalize on the pain of these families is very high.
But as thousands more continue seeking safety in neighboring countries like Poland, Hungary, Romania, and others, humanitarian agencies say they must prevent victims of war from becoming victims of human trafficking.
They can offer us help for free to reach any country, to have an apartment.
Volunteers say all it takes is for someone to put their trust in the wrong person for them to be sold as sex workers or forced laborers.
We found three men that was trying to get a bunch of women into a van. When we approached them, they got nervous and they just left immediately.
And data from the European Union found worldwide human trafficking to be a $32 billion industry in 2020. But with all the fears, some refugees say they have few options. Government agencies in Germany are warning Ukrainians not to accept free help from strangers upon arrival and telling German citizens looking to help to register on official websites to prevent any crimes. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Bringing it closer to home, 2 people are dead after a crash early yesterday in southeast Kansas. It happened around 6:30 in the morning on 169, about a mile east of Humboldt. The Highway Patrol says 2 pickup trucks hit head-on. Both drivers died at the scene. They were 62-year-old Gordon Lane of Ottawa, Kansas, and 45-year-old Jamie Lynn Ellis of Viola, Kansas. 2 occupants of the Ellis vehicle, an adult and a 6-year-old child, were taken to the hospital for suspected serious injuries. A Lawrence County, Missouri judge sentences 2 more suspects in a kidnapping and murder case. Authorities say Andrew Cypret of Billings and Lyle DeLong of Stott City were 2 of 9 suspects involved in the kidnapping of 2 women and the murder of one, Sarah Pascoe, on August of 2020. Cypret and DeLong both pled guilty to charges of second-degree murder and kidnapping. The judge sentenced them both to 32 years in prison. 4 other suspects in this case have already been sentenced. You can learn more about those sentences and the case on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Mourners are paying their respects to Corporal Ben Cooper, who was killed in last Tuesday's shooting. The public was permitted to attend a visitation that ended at the Leggett and Platt Athletic Center at MSSU at 8 last night. His funeral will be at 1 today at that same location. Corporal Cooper was 46. Missouri's Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe ordered all U.S. and Missouri flags be flown at half-staff at all government buildings in Jasper and Newton counties in honor of Corporal Cooper. Funeral services will also take place this week for Officer Jake Reed, killed in the same encounter. These services will also be at the Leggett and Platt Center. Visitation will be on Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. The funeral will be on Friday at 1. Officer Reed was 27. Last week's shooting that left 2 Joplin officers dead and 1 seriously injured has hit close to home for the staff at Eastmoreland Elementary. The shooting at 9th in Connecticut was in Eastmoreland's attendance boundaries, which meant the school had to come up with alternate plans to getting kids in that area home that day. But it had another impact. Officer Rick Hershey, who was seriously injured, had served as Eastmoreland School Resource Officer for 15 years, having left that position at the end of the last school year. We spoke with staff at the school yesterday who say Officer Hershey had a profound impact on not only them, but the students he served.
Yeah, Officer Hershey was just one of the most dedicated individuals I've worked with over the years. He built a relationship with everyone that he came in contact with, and he has such a huge love just for people in general, not just our students, but our staff and everyone in the community. There wasn't a time when I wouldn't be out in the community and see him and he wouldn't be interacting with someone.
Surbrugg says Eastmoreland is collecting coins for cops, a fundraiser to provide a meal to the Joplin Police Department. She adds any money left over will be donated to the officers' families and to the department. Well, a mural has been unveiled of Beatles drummer Ringo Starr, close to where he grew up in Liverpool, in Northern Ireland, England. The artwork covers the wall of the former Empress pub in the city's Toxteth area. The mural also features colorful cartoon images from the 1960s movie Yellow Submarine. Starr lived in a street behind the pub where his mother was a barmaid. From the age of 6, the piece was painted by local artist John Colshaw. That is a huge mural.
It is huge. It's beautiful though.
It is. I didn't expect that at first. I thought it was just kind of be like, I don't know, a small, normal-sized wall. But this is.
I thought it'd just be like a building.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the side of a building.
This is impressive, and that's a gorgeous
It's
statue
so colorful
painting.
from that aerial view.
I know.
Kudos to our producer with Octopus's Garden. That was well played. Somewhere Pete Best is watching this story. I'd have no idea if we're big in Liverpool, folks. We'll have to do the data on Facebook to see if that's true. Somewhere Pete Best is going, no, this should be my mural. Sorry. Take it up with Brian Epstein, right? Live look outside of Television City, where cloud cover providing us with some marvelous looking Tuesday morning hues. Of course, the flags at half-staff across the 4 states with the funeral of Corporal Cooper of the Joplin Police Department transpiring later today. Daily Almanac for our Tuesday, March the, what are we on, the 15th? Huh? Ron says yes. He's producing this gig, so I just take his word. Average high would be 60 degrees, and we'll get just a little bit above that, but really right on par. The majority of the rainfall. Tim, do we have anything coming out of Arkansas? Traffic camera from Arkansas Department of Transportation, where we're seeing the heaviest of the rain. And you could tell, pretty good slowdown there of traffic, going one way at least, get the other way. Things are cruising right along, but gives you an idea of the accumulation that we've had, or that they've had, as opposed to what we had. We didn't really even see 1/10 of an inch of accumulation throughout the 4 states dating back to last night into this morning. Doesn't mean you certainly aren't going to notice a damp intersection. I wouldn't even call it wet for that much. 43 degrees right now over Joplin. Clearing skies throughout the afternoon. Highs around 63 degrees. Then into the 70s on Wednesday and Thursday. A little rain for Thursday night into Friday morning. That's also a little thunderstorm activity. That'll kick in a little lightning, be much more widespread than what we encountered Monday into Tuesday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Dang, son, this bacon is tough.
This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, of course, it's spring break for most students across the 4 states and for many students across the United States, including that gentleman right there. His name is Paul Noble, and he's a college student at Northern Iowa, and he decided for his spring break he was going to try to break the record running across the state of Iowa. If he can do it in 4 days, 15 hours, and 29 minutes, he's the new record holder. So, yeah, so much for a little R&R on Paul's spring break. So we made our question for you is, what are you doing for spring break? Right now, 83% of you say, hey, coming off of what the last 2.5 years have been, if we can just kind of do nothing and take it easy, that'd be much appreciative. And 8% of you with the staycation, 3% of you say, go leave town, take a vacation. Appreciate the engagement each and every morning. And no matter what you choose to do on your spring break, I hope you get to enjoy some time to yourself, kiddos, college students, adults. No, I know. Right now, yeah, you're like, when can we get back on a normal schedule, please? All right, saying a simple I love you is nothing less than a breakthrough for some special needs children. That includes a group of nonverbal students in California. But now they have a way to express their thoughts and feelings thanks to technology that turns their eye movements into words. Rena Nakano with the story.
It was his 3rd Halloween, I believe.
Jessica Cleveland proudly shows off a tattoo of her son, Ethan. She calls him her miracle baby.
I had my son at 17. I was told that he wasn't going to make it past 24 hours. And he is now almost a teenager.
This is 12-year-old Ethan now. Born with hydrocephalus and cerebral palsy, he's nonverbal. For years, they tried to find ways for him to communicate.
Wanted. We've tried the iPad, we've tried, other devices.
Nothing worked until San Bernardino County Office of Education got the funding this school year to get the Tobii Dynavox eye gaze machine.
Liked.
And this equipment just motivates everybody to keep working on individual students and how we can best connect with them so we can support their goals.
By using just his eyes, Ethan can select words on the screen to communicate his thoughts.
No. Once he was able to actually get out what he wanted, I seen it in his face and obviously in everybody else's face that wait, he has a voice.
3 months ago, there was a breakthrough. For the first time in his life, Ethan used the machine to say to his mother, I love you.
Sorry, it was awesome for me to be able to know that my son has those emotions and he'll be able to not only tell me, but somebody else maybe in the future.
Cleveland says the device has been a game changer. She says she sees nothing but a promising future for her miracle son, defying all odds.
Hopefully, get a girlfriend one day. I really don't want that, but and maybe actually get a job, a career.
Be back with consumer news right after this.
Filling up your gas tank is coming with a higher price tag. Danya Bacchus has tips for how you can save money on gas.
At gas stations across the country, frustration is growing.
It doesn't make sense for us to pay $6 a gallon?
With prices hitting levels not seen in a decade, drivers like Megan Barzesh are looking for bargains.
I'm trying to save some money. I decided to have membership with Costco so I get cheaper prices.
Memberships can come with a great advantage.
Doug Shoup with AAA says Costco, Sam's Club, and other wholesale stores offer some of the best discounts on gas.
But keep in mind, a lot of people know about those, so you may wait in some long lines to get that gasoline.
To find the cheapest fuel at traditional stations, apps like Gas Buddy, AAA Mobile, and Google Maps list prices in your area. You can also save by using regular grade gas. AAA says only use the more expensive premium gas if your vehicle requires it. If not, regular gas will do. On the road, maximize fuel efficiency by staying out of the fast lane.
Most vehicles will hit their peak fuel efficiency at about 50 miles per hour. Then it starts to go down the faster the vehicle goes. So if you reduce your freeway speeds by 5 to 10 miles per hour, you can actually increase your fuel economy by up to 14%.
Shoup says it's also important to keep the car running at peak performance.
And that's with the maintenance of your vehicle.
Absolutely.
Replacing dirty air filters and faulty spark plugs helps the engine burn less fuel, and keeping tires properly inflated can lead to savings down the road. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Many grocery stores offer loyalty programs, and those points can be cashed in for discounts at certain gas stations. Well, rising COVID-19 cases have prompted lockdowns in several Chinese cities. It's the biggest outbreak in the country in more than 2 years. The restrictions have forced many businesses to close, including the factory that makes iPhone and iPad parts. Foxconn says it will move its production lines to an area that's not under a lockdown order. And the White House says economic sanctions imposed on Russia have already caused a financial crisis there. The Treasury Department predicts the Kremlin will soon have to decide how it will fund its war on Ukraine. The Russian government is threatening to repay foreign debts in rubles instead of dollars or euros. Experts say doing so could trigger a default. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Rod Stewart, known for that gravelly voice, evidently is now shoveling gravel to fix potholes on his road. And he posted a video of it, and evidently the internet cannot get enough. There's only one person who can appropriately do this story, our favorite Jeannie Mose.
Instead of clutching a microphone, Rod Stewart is gripping a shovel.
I'm repairing the street where I live, because no one can bother to do it.
Instead of lounging at his multi-million-dollar mansion in Essex County, England, he's fixing potholes in the road that leads to it.
And the other day there was an ambulance with a burst tyre. My Ferrari can't go through here at all.
His Ferrari driven away by potholes? No wonder fans are changing the lyrics to Rod's song. The first cut is the deepest. Has become the first rut is the deepest. Social media is awash in both praise, well done Rod, you are a legend, and mockery. From his shoes, incorrect footwear, to his pothole repair technique. What they're doing won't last 5 minutes. People are inviting Stewart to come fix their potholes.
Me and the boys thought we'd come and do it ourselves.
Rod captioned the videos he posted, "Filling holes is good for the soul." The souls at the Essex Highway Department told CNN they had to prioritize where to spend scarce resources. While we appreciate Sir Rod's commitment, we discourage anyone from carrying out work on the roads themselves. Residents are putting themselves and others at risk. We can only imagine Sir Rod's reply to that potshot. Ain't nobody gonna stop us now. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
Only Rod Stewart could get away with that and have city officials laughing about it. Ron, when do you think he started working on the roads? What time of day do you think he started working on it? I'm going to say he's probably started working in the morning. Just in case somebody said, you know, I love you. Because he's like, in the morning, don't say you love me. Rod Stewart will kick you out the door. We're having a good time. 7-day forecast. Work into the 60s today. Gradually clearing skies. Get some sunshine. We're done with our rain for the most part. Next time we take the 7-day here at the noon hour, we'll go ahead and eliminate that, but I wanted to keep it up because we did have some light sprinkles just south of I-44 for our morning hours. But like I said, we're done now. It'll traverse through central Arkansas. And then after a pretty good looking Tuesday afternoon, a delightful Wednesday and Thursday as our temperatures will be in the 70s for the afternoon. Then on Thursday night, we'll start talking about some thunderstorm activity into Friday morning. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Imagine yourself in a new...
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Russia continues to shell Ukrainian cities even as both sides scheduled a 5th round of peace talks today. The Kremlin's unrelenting attacks on Ukraine span cities across the country, with a strike at a military base over the weekend, just 15 miles from the Polish border. Ukraine's President Zelensky is set to address members of Congress virtually Wednesday about the invasion. The Omicron variant is fueling a COVID surge in China, forcing the population of 9 million into lockdown. But in the U.S., cases of the virus have plunged to the lowest level in 8 months. On Monday, California lifted its mandatory mask requirement at schools, leaving the decision to local districts. And police in Washington, D.C. and New York City are searching for a gunman wanted for shooting several homeless people. The recent attacks left at least 2 men dead. Homeless advocates say cities must create better housing options for those living on the street. Now let's check in with Michael for your final look at weather.
Light rain is now a thing of the past, Bronte. Now that we work into our later morning hours, our skies will gradually clear, sun and shine, and a little northeast breeze, not too bad, just 5 to 10 miles per hour. 70s, middle of the week, a little bit colder after Thursday night's thunderstorms into Friday morning, but still well above the freezing mark, meaning that rain can just stay as March rain.
Right. Well, here's a day worth going nuts over. It's National Peanut Lovers Day. March 15th is all about goobers. That's one of the nicknames for peanuts, which aren't actually nuts at all. They're legumes, so they're in the same family as lentils, soybeans, and chickpeas. Peanuts pack a powerful punch, high in protein and rich in nutrients, minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants. They're great for snacking. Think spoonful of peanut butter. There's also the classic PB&J to consider along with a number of candies. Don't forget all the savory ways to chow down. Peanuts are used in soup, salad dressings, marinades, and dipping sauce.
And of course, if you're curious about a million other uses, George Washington Carver down in Diamond, check that out. Amazing the things that he came up with as alternatives. I want to thank you all for letting us put the good in your morning. Back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
I had a job as an elf.
How tall are you?